Now, this drill here made me turn pro, and why that is because it gets what we see all the best players in the world do going through the golf ball, and that is having nice, efficient, fluid rotation of the body. And using this with my students has amazing results. One really cool thing we see is they actually develop a little bit of a shorter backswing without trying to, but end up hitting the ball really around 20 yards further, so 2 clubs. So let's get straight into why this drill is amazing and you should do it too. So this drill is the preset rotation drill. So what is that? That is, we get into our setup at what we ideally want our impact to look like, almost at the extreme end. So that is getting yourself as rotated with the hips as you can, as rotated with the chest as you can, weight 90% on the left leg, and you have your right shoulder down to your right hip. So this gap as diminished as you can to where you can do it in comfort, but at the end of it. So it gets you in this kind of tour level impact. And all we do is we spring back to a half swing and through. So starting at that impact position gives us an amazing feel at what kind of like a tour level rotation feels like going through the golf ball. And what we notice when we do so, we're going to have that short swing. We're going to see, one, much tighter control of the golf shot. Now, why that is because when we are turning, going through the golf ball, using our body's rotation to govern that movement, this club face is going to be staying very, very stable. It's still going to have some release to it, absolutely, but it's going to have a much smaller amount of rate of closure. So that means you can do this move and get that nice accuracy, that nice dispersion tightened up, much more reliable because your body is controlling the shot. Where I used to swing just like this, what we see so many amateur golfers do. And that is pretty much all powered by the arms. So I used to try to get all my distance from my arms. So I'll go at really almost 100% at a shot every single shot. But what we would notice with that big effort, without really having too much rotation, we're going to see, yeah, it can still somewhat get an okay distance, but it's very easy to turn the ball over. So for me, my miss was very, very commonly out towards the left, because at impact, again, I would have been like this, practically dead square on to the golf ball. So I was having no movement of the body, or very little, which means that club face was going to turn over a lot. Why that was turning over a lot? Because if my body isn't getting the club through in the golf ball, my hands and arms have got to do so. So immediately when I started doing this drill, not only did I feel like I didn't have to put that much effort into it, but the ball started going straighter immediately. So another one here, start to that impact position and get in that nice little turn, tiny bit pulley as an influence from the last shot most likely. That's one thing that you'll notice in the early stages when you do this drill. If you were left miss like me, you'll see it kind of gradually come in, even just the influence of that one shot before made that miss the green very slightly. But look how much it's brought it in. The distance from a half swing went 146. This is an 8-iron. And absolutely, from that small swing, why that still produced a fairly respectable distance is because that rotation going through the golf ball means I'm not wasting any energy. Because if I am going fully with my arms at it, yes, I might get a little bit of flash speed, absolutely, don't get me wrong, from almost excessive amount of release of that club face. That will create a little bit of speed, but it's completely unpredictable. But one of the big things of when we're extra arms, you're going through the shot, the body, as we know, is very quiet, which means you are going to dump your speed early in the golf swing. So that's where when we get into our rotated impact position, we're going to be extremely efficient going through the golf ball in regards to our accuracy and our speed generation. So here, again, my intent won't be going at it hard at all. Lovely feeling strike and dead on target. So for myself, this was absolutely pivotal. As you've probably seen from my videos with a similar title, I've done quite a few drills in the past that have really helped me in become a professional. I had my pause at the top drill, pause here and swing through, really good to getting my swing smoothed out. I had my step through drill, which were all great. I was again getting my swing smoothed out, getting myself onto my left side, but they didn't teach me to turn as well as this drill does. This is what I did after it to get that feeling, because I used to suffer of what my students suffered with. And that is getting that classic arm swing, as we said, going into more body rotational swing. So for my students, absolutely, whether these are players, again, who are very arm dominant, whether that makes them miss left like I used to, you can easily flare it out to the right, being an arm dominant player as well. It's not just a left miss. Or let's say, guys who come to me for lessons who just want to get that body turning more for all the good stuff. This drill is absolutely awesome, because what we see from a lot of guys who are extra armsy as well, you can see them have a little bit of an excessive wasted swing length, get quite long, everything gets out of sequence, and then they hit these horrible, nasty shots that ultimately for some of the guys that look like they can hit the ball a decent distance, they hit the ball pretty much nowhere for what they look like they're capable of doing. And that's where getting this nice preset rotation drill into their hands, quite commonly, like we said in the intro, it gains them yardage while swinging shorter. So that's where we only do a half swing with this drill. But you will see that distance ramp up a ton. So we can see there back into 150s, pretty much 160 as a total. I'm recovering from the flu at the moment, so I'm not going to be hitting the ball as far as I normally do. But it's something we always see with the students is they will first and foremost start to hit the ball further immediately. And you always get that question is, can I do this out on the golf course? And yeah, absolutely can do it. I would recommend doing it just as a drill. It's hard to commit to on the golf course. It's one thing doing it in practice, another out on the golf course. But absolutely, it does give you results pretty quickly and gets that all important feel, because going from arm swing to body swing, yes, it's all well and good knowing what to do, but you've got to be able to feel what to do. So that's where this gets you that feeling. It gives you this real kind of springy motion, and it does feel very, very different to a normal kind of, or normal arm swing. So you can really feel there, everything turning nicely. Missed that maybe a touch left. But there is a routine that we do to be able to get it into the golf course on your normal swing, which works brilliantly with my students. And that is working this into your pre-shot routine. So you can start this on the practice ground or in a simulator like Teats Green in Ayr in Scotland. Absolutely, or you can do it before you go and hit the ball. Pre-shot routine on the course. So what I would do with players is we're getting yourself into doing a normal practice swing, but doing it from your preset position. So if you've been practicing with this drill, of course, you'll be very familiar with that feeling and do a couple swings back and through. Let's do one for the video's sake. And then what we do, we emulate someone like Matthew Wolff, what he does before he goes and hits his shot, because he did this exact drill, and that's why he has his little kind of trigger where he has that little kind of shuffle before he hits his shot. That's what George Gankas, his coach, recommended him doing before he hits every single shot, just so he gets that rotational feeling before the shot. So we do our couple practice swings beforehand and that little kind of Matthew Wolff shuffle, getting that little feeling, and then going into the shot, replicating that exact same feel. You could have that same kind of shortened feeling of the swing at the same time. I find that quite beneficial for players when they are getting rotation into their swing, is if you're still trying to hit the ball normal distance with a slightly shortened feeling backswing, like you would be doing with this drill, it forces the body to turn that little bit more. So again, just something very simple, practice swings in our preset position, then going into our shot, having that Matthew Wolff type of feeling, whether it's a lot or whether it's just a small, whatever's comfortable for a player, and then replicate that same feeling with a slightly shortened feeling backswing. That's absolutely brilliant to be able to get it into your swing on the golf course, but the real way to get into your swing on the golf course is, of course, practice. And one other thing. And that one other thing is getting your variables in your golf swing into a good place to be able to rotate. So this is something when I talk about rotation online, I talk about this a ton, and that is so many players have an arm-driven swing like I used to have because their golf swing is in a place to where they functionally can't rotate. So let's say, for example, a player has a massive open club face, toe pointing up towards the sky, remaining open in the downswing. They got no chance to be able to rotate, because if they do turn, they're going to produce shaft lean as a result, and that will open up the club face more, going for impact. So what's that going to result in? The ball to miss massively out towards the right. So it could be that, could be a steep shaft in transition. If you continue to rotate, it's going to plummet into the ground. You have to stall out, early extend to get that club back on path again. So there's loads of different little things that can stop you from rotating. That's why it's incredibly important to have a drill like we talk about today to get you the feelings. That's where when I started doing it with my swing, which again, I wouldn't have been able to control this, the club face, so have an adequate distance without it. So I would have never been a pro without this drill. But when I started working on it, my variables were in the spot to be able to turn. I had good club face control throughout the earlier portion of my swing. My shaft movement was good. I had good depth of my hands and arms, had good tilting movement, had good pressure shift, loads of things. There is a link in the description for a guide all about rotation, how to get your variables that you might have wrong with your golf swing and pair them up with a good drill for a good routine. Again, link in the description for that. Of the plenty of videos on my channel talking about this. You have to have your swing in the correct space to be able to rotate. Because I tell you what, you are not rotating because your body just can't do it. We can all rotate. We don't all have to rotate like Dustin Johnson. I can't even do that. But just having the fluid, smooth rotation, which is what this drill trains, we still need to have the swing in the right place to be able to do so. So if you want to feel the rotation, this is the drill to do for you. Like, it helped me a ton and it helped my students as well. So if you enjoyed this video, click that like button. If you want more golf instruction, just like this, hit a subscribe button, hit that bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video.